সুখে দুঃখে ভুলো না কো বদনে হরি নাম করো রে। সুখে দুঃখে ভুলো না কো বদনে হরি নাম করো রে। গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে, গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে, মায়া জালে বাধ্য হয়ে আছো মিছে কাজলয়ে। মায়া জালে বাধ্য হয়ে আছো মিছে কাজলয়ে। এখনো চেতন পে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে। এখনো চেতন পে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে। গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে, গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে। জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ। জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ। ভক্তি বিনোদ উপদেশ একবার নাম দশে মাতরে। বিনোদ উপদেশ একবার নাম দশে মাতরে। উপদেশ একবার নাম দশে মাতরে। গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে, গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে। হরিনাম। Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone sing. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sachinandan Prabhu, for the wonderful bhajan and the kirtan. So now we'll be starting a talk, especially on chanting the holy names, because as you may have heard, in the Vedic calendar, this is a very special month, a very auspicious month. And so here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, we're putting a special focus on chanting the holy names. So if I could ask you all to now please shift around so that you can face the speaker nicely. So if everyone kind of comes this way and sits kind of over here, right in front of the speaker. And then right after the talk, we'll be having a practical japa meditation session, and then Aarti will be at 7 p.m., so please stay with us. Just before we start the talk, we'll first read the translation of this bhajan that we just sang together. So please listen carefully. Lord Gaurasundar sings in a very sweet voice, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whether you're a householder or a sannyasi, constantly chant Hari Hari. Do not forget this chanting, whether you're in a happy condition or a distressful one. Just fill your lips with the Harinam. You're bound up in the network of Maya and are forced to toil fruitlessly. Now you have obtained full consciousness in the human form of life, so chant the names of Radha Madhav. Your life may end at any moment, and you have not served the Lord of the senses, Rishikesh. Take this advice of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Just once relish the nectar of the holy name. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki.
Hare Krishna. Let's try that again. Hare Krishna. Fantastic. So I'll start with a short invocation and we'll get straight into the class. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpa tarubhishcha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nantokoti Vaishnavanaki. Hare Krishna. So, I gave a class yesterday. And unfortunately, there was meant to be someone else that was supposed to give this class today. And so there may be a lot of repetition from what I had spoken about yesterday that may come into today. But I was actually thinking a great way to often start is that sometimes we sit through classes and as we listen, we tell ourselves and we think to ourselves, I've already heard that. What new content is there that I can hear? But you see, Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, we say, is not linear. In the material world, in the outside world, you equate progress with how far you go. But in the spiritual world, in the spiritual life, real success is actually how deep you are able to evolve. And so even though I may be repeating the same thing, and some of you may be hearing the same thing, perhaps maybe there is a lesson for all of us to learn from this. Something that we need to experience, something that we need to understand a little bit more deeper in order to go and develop a taste for the holy name. Hare Krishna. So, I am going to read the verse. It was from the same verse from yesterday. And this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 23. So it is said, the personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotees by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name, releases the devotee from bondage of fruitive activity at the time of his quitting the material body. So this is purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yoga means concentration of the mind, detached from all other subject matter, and actually such concentration is samadhi, or 100% engagement in the service of the Lord. And one who concentrates his attention in that manner is called a yogi. Such a yogi devotee of the Lord engages himself 24 hours daily in the service of the Lord, so that his whole attention is engrossed with the thoughts of the Lord in ninefold devotional service, namely hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, becoming a voluntary servant, carrying out orders, establishing a friendly relationship, or offering all that one may possess in the service of the Lord. By such practice of yoga or linking up in the service of the Lord, one is recognized by the Lord himself. As it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita concerning the highest perfectional stage of samadhi, the Lord calls such a rare devotee the best amongst all the yogis. Such a perfect yogi is enabled. Enabled by the divine grace of the Lord to concentrate his mind upon the Lord with a perfect sense of consciousness. And thus, by chanting his holy name before quitting the body, the yogi is at once transferred by the internal energy of the Lord to one of the eternal planets, where there is no question of material life and its concomitant factors. In material existence, a living being has to endure the material condition of threefold miseries like life after life. According to his fruitive work, such material life is produced by material desire only. Devotional service to the Lord does not kill the natural desires of the living beings, but they are applied in the right cause of devotional service. This qualifies the desire to be transferred to the spiritual sky. General Bhishmadev is referring to a particular type of yoga called Bhakti Yoga. And he was fortunate enough to have the Lord directly in his presence before he quitted his material body. He therefore desired that the Lord stay before his view in the following verses. So, as I had reread this chapter and this particular verse, one thing that really came to my mind is that sometimes we think spiritual life later and material life now. We focus and we become so engrossed in what we are supposed to do and what we need to do in this current moment of time that we actually neglect and we forget that the future is an extension of the present. We worry so much about the future, but this moment is what's creating the future. So therefore, by taking and investing and spending time in renovating our consciousness, reflecting on our heart intention and what is within there, then actually we can build a better future by investing in our spiritual life today. So that's one thing, is that we get so worried, we get so concerned, so worked up about so many responsibilities, and we start to think that how is spiritual life, how is chanting, how is hearing, how is reading going to help me in all this? But actually one thing that we forget and we neglect is that reading, chanting, and hearing, all these elements are actually what is filtering our ability to be able to see what is before our eyes. We don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And so therefore it is so important that we invest time to practice bhakti, to chant attentively, to hear, because what it is that this will actually filter out the fear factor of our life, and we will actually see that Krishna, his hand is in every aspect of our life. It is actually said that when we invest and we take the time in establishing our relationship with Krishna through the holy name, there is two symptoms of that. There are two things that develops that the whole world pursues. What are those two things? One is relief. Every single one of us, we're actually seeking and searching relief from our distress. And distress is the natural byproduct of the world that we live in today. We cannot avoid it. We cannot avoid distress, but we can actually learn in how to respond to distress. And so that is one thing that we develop, relief. And then the other thing that we develop is confidence. Every single one of us, we want to feel confident about our future. We want to feel confident about the future of our children. We want to feel confident about our time of leaving in this world. And this is what the holy name has to offer to us. It's not that we pursue these two things. They are the natural symptoms of when we try and sincerely chant Krishna's name. When we actually take the time to develop and establish a relationship with the Lord. So these are two things to remember. And as I was reading the purport, so from what I was mentioning yesterday, is that, believe it or not, every single one of you in this room, you have a model and you have a formula for how you have been living your life. There are certain choices and decisions you make based on the upbringing that you've all had, based on the influences in your life. We are all products of our environment, but actually we can change that. The suffering that we are experiencing is actually a matter of choice. It is said that we cannot avoid pain, but we can choose how long we want to suffer in this world. How do we do that? How do we actually break that cycle? We break that cycle, and it may seem very, very funny, but we break that cycle through sound. Because this whole manifestation, this whole world is actually built on the basis, the foundation of sound. And we also ourselves are influenced in many, many ways based on the foundation of sound. What we hear, and then what we hear influences what we think. And what we think then influences what we feel. And what we feel then influences what we do. And so therefore, there's a psychological terminology called immersiveness. We need to find time in our routine. We need to find time in our day where we can immerse ourselves in Krishna's presence through the holy name. Because that immersiveness is then what will actually evolve our character. It is what will evolve who we are. So therefore, it's really important that we are not who we think we are, but we are who the world and people around us have told us we are. So therefore, the things that we value, the things that we desire, the things that we pursue is not actually what we really want. It is what the whole world has convinced us that is what we need. It is interesting. But we can actually change that formula. Krishna consciousness chanting does one thing for us. What chanting does is that it churns out all those conditionings, all those limitations, all those beliefs. Often I describe and tell people, Krishna loves you as Krishna loves you. But what gets in the way of that love is our own doubts, our own insecurity, our own sense of feeling hopeless. But Krishna loves us. So this is what the holy name actually offers. This holy name is so beautiful because it actually develops our attachment for Krishna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita that to control the mind is as difficult as to control the wind. So therefore, believe it or not, none of us can actually not be attached to anything. We all have to be attached to something. But based on what we're attached to is based on the outcome we will produce in this world. So if we're attached to security, safety, instant gratification, then Prahlad Maharaj says that one who pursues for happiness actually comes face to face with distress. But then that one who actually stops pursuing for happiness experiences real bliss, real happiness. Because that individual then realizes that actually real, genuine happiness comes from three things. And those three things is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Who am I? Srila Prabhupada says that real intelligence begins from the moment that we ask ourselves, who are we? Because based on asking that, then we will define and we will determine then what journey we need to be on and where is the destination. We're all in this world looking for the same thing, but we all have different formulas, and so therefore we're all taking different route. And Srila Prabhupada is so amazing. The founder Acharya, he came and he showered so much mercy. He saw how much people were confused. in what they consider to be happiness. And in Shastra, in the Vedic tradition, it is said here that material world for people, happiness is like a camel that is chewing on a thorn, chewing, and the tongue is bleeding, but it still thinks it is enjoying. So Srila Prabhupada came and he gave us this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful gift. And with this gift, the question now is, what will we do about it? What will we choose? How will we choose to take our life serious? How will we choose to take this serious? And not only that, I was actually mentioning yesterday, and this is so interesting, that one of the things that the holy name actually allows us to do is also to be introspective of our life. You see, every single one of us, we have a story. Not only do we have a story, we also have a backdrop. We have all these attachments and addictions that often we don't realize are there in our life. And they're so small, so minute. But if we're not careful, if we're not conscious, if we're not attentive, then those minute attachments can actually become bigger and bigger and bigger and impact our life, impact our relationship with Krishna, impact our relationship with the Vaishnavas, with the devotees around us. So it is so important, every single one of you, as you go along your life and you go along your day and you carry on, that you invest and you spend some time being introspective. Introspective about your relationship with Krishna. Introspective about your attachment to the holy name. Introspective about actually how has the result of chanting, how as a result of practicing spirituality, Krishna consciousness, has it really evolved your heart? Has it evolved your character? Because otherwise what it is that this process becomes ritual, but you forget it to make it spiritual. To make it spiritual requires some form of attentiveness. It requires some form of introspection. Otherwise, believe it, you can be coming to the temple for many, many, many years and still feel that you haven't made a progress. You can be associating with the devotees for many, many, many years and still seem to feel like there's something lacking. And you see, the interesting, fascinating thing is that Krishna says, I am time, and time, believe it or not, is not on our side. We have such short period of time. And the problem is that many of us are not living with a sense of urgency. We are not living with a sense of that I need to take this serious. We treat our life as if we have tomorrow, next year. Yeah, I'll take chanting more serious next week. I'll take chanting serious next year. I'll take chanting when the kids grow. We make all these factors of excuses, and somehow or another we try and find a way to fit Krishna into our routine. As if Krishna is a second priority. It is actually said for the average person, there is 3 things that they prioritize more than spirituality. That is career, that is relationship, and that is wealth. And then spirituality comes on the 4th. And why am I sharing this with you? Because when we make Krishna a second priority, then how can we expect him to come to our rescue when we need him? How can we expect that? Krishna, Srila Prabhupada has warned on many occasions that Krishna is not just an individual that we do business with. He is not a personality that we do a business with, that when things are great, that we take the glorification. But then when things are painful, then we find someone to blame for why life isn't going the way it's supposed to work. That is not how it works. So it is so important that we take responsibility and we take seriousness in enhancing and developing our relationship with Krishna by the quality of chanting that we do on a regular day-to-day basis. It is not enough just to chant 16 rounds. We must do our best to chant attentive 16 rounds. It is not enough that we just sing and we dance and we chant and we serve. We all have a duty. We all have a responsibility. That it's not just what we do, but it's how we do it. We must ask ourselves, how much of my heart is in what I am doing right now? How invested am I? How conscious am I? How serious am I taking this? And based on that, then you will see how much of a measurement of success that you've made in your spiritual life. Spiritual life is not about the title. It's not about the label. It is not about how great you've become over the years in singing and dancing and chanting. That's all external. And if we focus on external, then what we actually develop is a replica, a shadow of what genuine faith and what genuine spiritual life can be and feel like. And why am I telling you this? Because then what happens at the time of death, you may think that you've made a lot of advancement and progress, but Srila Prabhupada says in that time of death, your real desires will surface up. Your real desires will surface up. Your real fears will surface up. Your real attachment will surface up. And if we cannot learn to surrender and pay our obeisances and bow down now, then at the time of death, we will surrender. But we will surrender painfully. We will surrender very harshly. So every single one of you in this temple room, and for those that are watching online, you have the opportunity of a lifetime. You have the opportunity of a lifetime. Don't waste it. It is said that when who has not heard of Krishna consciousness and has not heard the holy name is unfortunate. But then that who has heard the holy name, has heard about Krishna consciousness, but still refuses to follow the process is the most unfortunate. Because you've been offered an opportunity and you are refusing to take that opportunity. There is nothing more unfortunate than that. That is the most painful thing. And Srila Prabhupada would actually cry when he saw that devotees were so close to the real nectar, the real goal of life, and they still gave it up. This process is so beautiful because this process teaches us the most important thing, which is what? Lord Chaitanya says, Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreyaha kevava chandrika vitaranam vidya vadojivanam. So this process is so beautiful. Every single one of you, as you go through your life, even after today, tomorrow, years and years, you're developing more and more dusts of attachment. But let me ask you a question. We're so attached, but where are most of those attachments now? You know, I was sharing yesterday, in the last few weeks, many people that I know have passed away from cancer and they've had other health issues. And when they were in their deathbed and they passed away, where are their mothers? Where are their fathers? Where are their sisters? Where are their brothers? Where are their loved ones? Where are their teachers? The only person that awaits for us if we take him serious is Krishna on the other side. Otherwise, every relationship in this world, eventually we will have to leave it behind. Because we come into this world on our own and we leave this world on our own. We all have a sense of responsibility and duty towards our children, towards our parents, towards our relatives, towards our friends, towards everyone in our life, that we give them this holy name. You may think that Christmas is here, this festival is here, that festival is here. Let me go to the mall, let me go to the supermarket and buy some perfume or buy this teddy or buy this clothes and stuff. But this is all temporary. We will have to leave it behind. And if this is the kind of energy we put focus on, then these are the things we will also become attached to. I remember that this friend of mine bought me something, and then after that he had passed away, and I was so attached to the thing that he had bought me. And it only took some time that I could overcome this attachment. So actually, what service are we doing for our loved ones if all we seem to focus on is buying external things for them? The real gift that we can give our loved ones is to come together and chant together. The real present that we can give is to give them a book, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, that tells them this is who you are. This is the journey that you're on, and this is what you should be aspiring for. Because if you do not take responsibility, then what it is that you're allowing others to take responsibility for your children, your family, your loved ones. Then what it is that we are the reflection of the problems of society. We are the reflections of the problems in community. We are the problems of the reflection of our country, whatever it is, because every single one of you, they say that society is a reflection of the consciousness of the people. So yes, we are part of the problem. We are part of the problem. We cannot put our hands up and say that it's not my responsibility. It's every single one of our responsibility. The quality of a devotee is that they feel the pain of others. They feel the suffering of others, and then they want to do something about it. And how can we do something about it? Through Nam Sankirtan, through the chanting of the holy name. It is as simple as that. Lord Chaitanya knew that in this day and age, people don't have the capacity to be able to be so learned. But you don't have to be learned. You just need to chant. So, and then the last thing I will conclude with, because we've got a few more minutes, is that the most important thing that Krishna looks to in our life, the most important thing that he looks to is our sincere effort. It doesn't matter how beautifully you can chant. It doesn't matter how many. Once someone came and said, I can read the Bhagavad Gita in 45 minutes. Okay, that's fine, but can you live it in 45 minutes? Can you live it in 45 minutes? Yes, you've got a beautiful chanting, but how much of the holy name has penetrated through your heart? Has Krishna actually, have you made your heart so clean that then Krishna can take his position and talk to you and you're able to hear without filtration? We get to decide what we want to fill up the gap between action and reaction when situations happen in our life. But the question is, what are you filling that gap with? The holy name or your own anxiety, stress, and worries? So it's so important. It is our sincere effort in the end of the day that counts. So let us not be discouraged. Let us not be disheartened. Let us not think that I am not qualified for this. I'm not qualified. I cannot understand Srila Prabhupada's books. Because when you do whatever you do with sincere effort, then Krishna says, I am the ability in man. He will empower you. He will give you the empowerment you need. And then one day, I pray, this is a prayer for myself, and so we can all pray for this. One day, we can get to a stage where we can feel Na danam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishvare, bhavatad bhaktir ahetukadvaye. One day, instead of saying, why me? Krishna, why me? Why are you putting me through this situation? We can look at Krishna, we can smile. Krishna, thank you for allowing me to let go of my attachment. Krishna, when will that day come when I have no desire to accumulate wealth? Nor do I desire beautiful women, or for the women, men in that instance. Nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. One day, we can pray for that day. But it takes sincere effort. So I hope you've all taken something from this, and I hope you'll take the holy name serious. Because at the time of death, that is the only thing that can rescue you. Nothing else. Not your family, not your friends, not your loved ones, not your teachers, nobody. Just Krishna in the form of the holy name will give you relief from the most excruciating experience of your life. And we're all there. Sometimes we may think, but I'm still young. I've still got my whole life ahead of me. No. Young, old, it doesn't matter. I've seen someone 12 pass away, and I've also seen someone in their 30s pass away, and I've seen someone in their 70s pass away. So death has no kind of standard of when I'm going to leave this world. It can come at any time, but the question is, are you ready? Hare Krishna. So now we're going to get to the next phase, which is where the practicality comes in, and this will be your life-saving tool. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So now we're going to have a practical meditation session. So I hope you're all feeling inspired to do some chanting. So our volunteers are now going to come around. One volunteer is going to come around with some Achaman water, some sanctified water. So they're just going to drop this on your hand. Don't drink it. It's just to purify your hand, just to clean your hand like that. And then our second volunteer will come around with some beads. So these beads are what we're going to use for our chanting. So please keep hold of them. Shri Radha Gokulanand ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gaur Nita ki jai. Okay, so while our volunteers are coming around, I'll quickly show how we use the beads for our chanting. So we don't use the head bead, we don't use the top bead with the strings on it, but we chant starting from the next bead. And we hold each bead between our thumb and our middle finger. We don't use our index finger because they say it represents the ego. We usually use it for pointing at people, for poking people. So we hold each bead between our thumb and our middle finger, and on each bead we chant one mantra, one Hare Krishna mantra. And then once we chant one mantra, then we move to the next bead and the next bead and so on. And so we go all the way around, and when we come to the end, we just turn around and go all the way back. And so we'll be chanting together all the way up until Arti. I'll let you know when it's about, when Arti is about to start. So just before we begin, first of all, we can recite a mantra to invoke the blessings of all our spiritual teachers. So please recite after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara. Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Okay, so now we're going to start our meditation. So the first two mantras we'll chant together, and then everyone can chant at their own pace. Okay? Okay. Hare Krishna. So we can all chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in our meditation. So now Aarti will be starting very soon. So our volunteers will be coming around and recollecting the beads if they haven't already. But if you're feeling inspired to continue this as a daily practice, then you can purchase some beads from reception and carry on chanting every day. So if you're sitting on one of the blue cushions, then could I ask you to all place them just by the entrance on the right, so that there's sufficient space on the floor, and then everyone can stand for the Aarti to greet the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Shri Shri Radha Gokula Nand ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Arati Shobha. Janavi Tatavane Jagamanalobha Nikateya Dvaita Srini Pasachadradara Ratna Simbashane Ratna Simbashane Arati Kore na Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adhikari Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Kosharigaya Sankha Vaje Ganda Vaje Vaje Karatala Vaje Karatala Sankha Vaje Ganda Vaje Vaje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Vaje Paramarasala Madhura Mridanga Vaje Paramarasala Shankha Bhaje Gandha Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Shankha Bhaje Gandha Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala भक्ति विनोदा देखे करारस पारा भक्ति विनोदा देखे करारस पारा जय जय गौराचरणे आरती का शोभा जय जय गौराचरणे आरती का शोभा जाह्नवीतता माने जगमनलोभा गौरंगी आरती का शोभा जग जग मनलोभा गौरंगी आरती का शोभा जग जग मनलोभा जग जग मनलोभा जग जग मनलोभा नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशकारिणे Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shiva Sari Gaura
please sit down now. We'll have nursing arti for our protection. And may I request everybody to sit down. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralad Lad Daine. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Silatankana khalaye. Ito nasimo parato nasimo. Nasimo parato nasimo. Yato yato yamitato nasimo. Yato yato yamitato nasimo. Mahe nasimo nitae nasimo. Mahe nasimo hridaye nasimo. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapade. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapade. Tava kara kamalavare nakham adbhuta tringa. Dalitari ranyakachipu tanuvringa. Keshavadita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Kara kamalavare nakhana dutta shringa. Dalitari ranyakashipu tanuvringa. Keshavadita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Gita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Narasimhadev. 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 Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Narasimha Bhagavan ki, Jai Gauranatai ki, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
मैंने कब बोला कि बंद होगा, मैंने कभी बोला तो झूठ बोला।
Yes. Ah, moment.